Hello, Resurrection. It is October the 12th. It's Wednesday. A little breezy outside today, and I think we're getting some rain, which we very much need maybe this evening. It is fall break, but our regular Wednesday night programming is still on. We'll go right ahead. Probably have a thin youth group and a thin children's night as families travel, but we will be here. And if you're here and planning to come, then the more the merrier. Come right on. We are coming. If it's kind of hard to believe, but we are coming up on the annual meeting. All Saints Sunday is November the 6th this year. We always have our meeting on All Saints Sunday, which is one of the best church services of the year. I love All Saints Sunday. But we will, as we always do, we'll elect new vestry members. We have to replace three members, Susanna Bledsoe and Jackie Lane and John Southwood are all rolling off, and John's rolling off as the treasurer as well. These have been three. They have been really really fine vestry members. I think two of them for the first time, and one of them has been on a vestry more times than she wants to than she wants to admit. And Jackie Lane is one of those ladies that's been the junior warden here. I don't know how many times. I think at least three, but maybe more than that. And we joke about Jackie that Jackie's got a guy for everything. If there's something that needs to be done, you call Jackie, and she says, "I've got a guy who will do that." So I have been so grateful to these three people who have led us ably in the last 3 years. And Lynn Price also. Lynn actually is not on the vestry right now. She stayed on after her vestry term to be the secretary for us, and I appreciate that so much. She's the bionic minute taker. She before I can drive home from the vestry meetings, she has already emailed me the minutes for the meeting I've never seen anything like it. It's bizarre, and she's rolling off. We'll say retiring as the secretary, maybe. Although we may have to plug her back in at any time. Who knows? But I am so grateful to you folks. And as we look toward the meeting, we always try to have six people nominated, two for each position to be held. We actually got lucky this year and ended up with seven people nominated. And Charlie Brush, late service; Linda Cullum, late service; Frank Field, late service; Steve Heaston, early service; Ashley Carr, early service, usually early service. They're kind of switch hitters, the Cars. If you don't see them, it's probably because they were at the other service. Tom Schaefer, who's been in the early service for 30 years, and John Schuster, late service. So there may be some names you don't recognize because they go to a different service from you. Now, I say this every year, and I mean it every year, but I mean it even more this year than I ever have before. You cannot go wrong with any of those seven. Any mixture of those seven people makes for a great vestry. So people always ask me who I would vote for, and I usually tell them the same thing. You can't go wrong. But no joke, you cannot go wrong with those seven folks. That's a good vestry, no matter which way you slice it. All right, now I say this every year, but I mean it this year. I'm not going to talk a long time at the annual meeting. John Southwood is going to give us a little report, and Scott Johnson, the senior warden, is going to give us a little report, and I'm going to give a little report, and we're going to eat, and we're going to go home. And I'm not going to talk too long, I promise. 10 minutes, maybe 12, 10 minutes. So don't stay away because we talk too long. We're not going to talk too long. We're going to vote. We're going to eat. We're going to pass a good time. And like I say every year, it's all good news at Resurrection right now. Now, the vestry and the finance committee and I have been talking about the budget kind of in our meetings over the last year. And I keep saying that we're okay at Resurrection because we are. Financially, we are okay. I don't ever want to paint a rosier picture than is true. I always want to be transparent and open with you all. And I will say that the budget is tight. There is not one penny for anything extra. People sometimes ask, why don't we hire someone to do this, or why don't we buy this, or why don't we? And the reason we don't is because there's not any. There's no money to do anything extra right now. The budget's tight, but the budget is okay. We are okay. We're making it. I do think that we'll end up in the black this year, and we were not sure we would be able to do that this year. So that's good news. And when I say in the black, I mean like $10 in the black. I don't mean $10,000 in the black. We have just enough. But in the vestry meeting on Monday, we read the lesson about considering the lilies of the field, that they don't worry about tomorrow. And we've kind of had to be the lilies of the field these last 2 or 3 years. The medical scare, the pandemic, did real damage to churches, financial damage, uh, momentum damage. Every church is down in their numbers, although we seem to be kind of holding our own with that right now, and down in their finances as well. And the same is true at resurrection. But Jesus promised us that we would have just enough, that he would give us this day our daily bread, and today's bread is enough for today. So we have just enough. And that's really all that you can ask for is just enough. So when you hear me saying we're fine, it doesn't mean we're going to be launching into any big exciting building programs or anything like that. There is certainly not anything in the budget for that. Uh, but we are meeting all of our fixed costs, and we're meeting all of our variable costs, and there's not anything more than that, but we are. And a lot of churches in this world cannot say that right now. Things are tough all over. So we will talk about the budget some, and you will hear me say that we're okay because we're okay. Could we be okayer? Sure, we could be. Everybody could be. But I want to be clear about what I mean when I say that we're okay. We've got just enough. Thanks be to God. I will see you all this Sunday for the Holy Eucharist. I thought last week was a hoot with the blessing of the animals. And what about the children's choir, Resurrection Children's Choir? I have seen a lot of children's choirs in my days, and for a first round, for a debut, man, our children sounded good on Sunday, and I am so grateful to all of the folks who have been instrumental in that, especially Karen Nicolosi. Karen, keep doing what you're doing because I think we're all loving it. Speaking of love, I love you, and I will see you this very Sunday.